Good day, everyone. So, our topic is the teacher and the curriculum. I am Dr. Erwin R. Abrencilio. For our learning outcomes, we have first is define curriculum, explain curriculum based on the perception of non-curricularists, differentiate progressive and traditional points of view on curriculum, determine the different types of curriculum, and enumerate and explain the role of a teacher as a curricularist. So for our lesson outline, we have the following: definition of curriculum, points of view of the curriculum, types of curriculum, role of the teacher as curricularist, and this is the definition of curriculum according to TABA. So curriculum is a plan of learning. So what is this plan? It could be the lesson plan of the teacher, the one that we always prepare whenever we get inside the class. That is our weapon in teaching. So without it, we cannot implement anything. It could also be the syllabi or the syllabus that we use as a master plan before the lesson plan. So second one is that a curriculum usually contains a statement of aims and of specific objectives. So whenever there is a curriculum, there should be aims or a goal, and then based on that aim, so there should be specific objectives. So in a syllabi, there is there are general objectives and there are also specific objectives. When it comes with the lesson plan, which is let's say a daily plan, there is this learning competency that you have to accomplish for your students to learn. And these are backed up with different objectives. So objectives are categorized into three: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So curriculum also indicates some selection and organizing of content. So when we say selection and organizing of content, we are talking about which of these topics are we going to teach? How are we going to organize it? Which one will comes first? Then it either implies or manifests certain patterns of learning and teaching, whether because the objectives demand them or because the content organization requires them. But in the basic education, what you will encounter there is that there's already an arrangement of content. So these are done by experts. And these are also given in a curriculum guide wherein there are already objectives or learning competencies. And then finally, it includes a program of evaluation of the outcomes. And of course, if there's an objective, there's an implementation of in attaining the objectives, and there should also be evaluation of the outcomes. So that is according to TABA. And these are the different interpretation of curriculum by Oliva. So the first one is that a curriculum is that which is taught in the school. So according to Oliva, it is anything that is taught in the school. So perhaps everything that are taught in the school is defined is known as curriculum. Second is that curriculum is a set of subjects. So in the college, you have there the different subjects like the general education subjects, the major subjects. No, in basic education, you have there your core subjects like English, Filipino, mathematics, science, and araling panlipunan or social studies. Okay, so curriculum is content according to Oliva. So content like, let's say, if it is science, like photosynthesis, chemical reaction. If it is English, it could be a noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, and so on and so forth. Curriculum is a program of studies. In the college, diba, we have a different program of studies like, let's say, AB English or BS Ed English or HRTM or BSBA. So these are all curriculum according to Oliva. So curriculum is also a set of materials. So what are these materials? This could be those that are needed in order to implement the curriculum, like your laptop in doing your lesson plan, your books. It could also be the equipment that you need in order to cook something for TLE or a microscope, no? So these are known as curriculum. And then a curriculum is a set of performance objectives. So as I've said, it is essential that there should be objectives as part of the curriculum because that is the guide in teaching our students. No, so you cannot make a lesson plan without objectives, and you cannot implement your lesson plan if there's no objective. So meaning you cannot just teach based on the content. Let's say, for example, your content is noun. So in what aspects of that noun, no, what are the knowledge that you are going to teach your students? What should be the values or what are the skills that are needed in connection to the topic which is noun? Now, let's say you are teaching social science or social studies. Let's say your topic is history of the Philippines. No, so it is a long list of history. It is a long list of dates and people. So, in what aspect of that history of the Philippines are you going to teach your students? So, yeah. So that having said that, so that's why it is stated here that curriculum is a set of performance objectives. Curriculum is a course of study. Curriculum is everything that goes on within the school, including extra class activities, guidance, and interpersonal relationships. So, a while ago, it is said that curriculum is anything that happens in the school. So, according to Liba, curriculum is everything that goes on within the school, including extra class activities. So, what are these extra class activities? So, these are co-curricular activities or even extracurricular activities. It also includes guidance and interpersonal relationships. So, what is this interpersonal relationships? How learners interact with other students, or how learners interact with the teacher. So that's part of curriculum. Curriculum is that which is taught both inside and outside the school, directed by the school. So it's not only about what is being done inside the school, because there are also other things that may happen outside the school. Let's say, for example, you the students were given assignment by the teacher, and that assignment should be done inside at home, no? And in the current situations that we have right now, everything is done inside your own personal space, inside your house. So it's not only about what is happening in the school, but as long as it is directed by the school, no? So of course there are other things that are done by the students which are not directed by the school, and this is, according to the definition, is not part of the curriculum. Curriculum is everything that is planned by school personnel. So who are these school personnel? It could be the principal, it could be the teachers, no? So, because the curriculum is being planned by the school personnel. Curriculum is a series of experiences undergone by learners in the school. So these are a series of experiences. So that's why it is known as series, because experiences are done in a series. You will always start with the easiest one, then a little difficult, then difficult, and so on and so forth. So in this series of experiences, you have to learn first, let's say, addition before you learn multiplication. You have to learn first to how to walk properly before you can run. So it is a series of experiences. And then curriculum is that which an individual learner experiences as a result of schooling. Okay. So um, curriculum is that which an individual learner experiences. So these are again collective experiences as a result of schooling. So these experiences are done um, in the school, or it could be outside the school, as long as it is directed by the school, directed by the teacher, directed by the principal, directed by school personnel. Okay, so this time let's talk about the definitions of curriculum by other experts. So first is we have the planned activities for action according to McDonald. So this may also refer to the syllabi or the lesson plan, which include the different activities that are needed in order to teach our students. So, planned activities for action. So, meaning to say that it is not just a plan, but it is but it should be implemented according to the plan. A second is that experience set up by the school. So, according to Smith, Stanley, and Shores, so different learning experiences set up by the school. According to Caswell and Campbell, all experiences that children have under the guidance of teachers. So, according to Smith, it is set up by the school. According to Caswell, it is experiences under the guidance of teachers. Curriculum is all the planned learning outcomes for which the school is responsible, according to Popham and Baker. So, what now is a curriculum? So, there are two views um, about the definition of what curriculum is. So the first one is the traditional points of view, and the second one is the progressive points of view. So let us talk more about this on the next slide. So let us begin with traditional points of view. That body of subjects or subject matter prepared by the teachers for the students to learn. So according to the traditional points of view, curriculum is that body of subjects or subject matter. It is also a course of study and syllabus. Permanent study, according to Robert Hutchins. And the mission of the school should be intellectual training. Hence, curriculum should focus on the fundamental intellectual disciplines of grammar, literature, and writing. So it's more of the intellectual development. So that's why the focus is more into grammar, no, literature, and writing. And then discipline is the sole source of curriculum, according to Schwab, and should consist entirely of knowledge which comes from various disciplines. So it is knowledge based. It is viewed as a field of study. So it could refer to the different courses that you have, like let's say BS psychology or BS mathematics or BS physics. Written documents are a plan of action in accomplishing goal. So again, there is that written documents. It is a plan to accomplish a certain goal. That could also refer to the learning outcomes or learning objectives. Meanwhile, in the progressive points of view, you're gonna see this definition. So a listing of school subjects, syllabi, course of study, and list of courses or specific discipline do not make the curriculum. So you'll notice here that it is an entire opposite of what the traditional points of view has stated a while ago. And according to them, this can be called curriculum if the written materials are actualized by the learners. So when we speak of actualize, meaning that these things are learned by the students. So meaning to say that teaching our students is not enough according to progressive points of view. We can call it as a curriculum when the learners have learned something from us. So that actualized term is pertaining to whether they can be able to demonstrate the knowledge that they have gained. So for example, your topic is how to dance. No, let's say you are a MAPI teacher. So even if you demonstrated that, you use different materials in order for them to learn, but they did not actualize that. So that's not curriculum yet. So in the progressive points of view, it should be actualized by the learners. So meaning to say, if you have taught them how to dance, so at the end of the day or at the end of the week, at the end of your lesson, they should have actualized that dancing or singing or writing or any skills or any knowledge and skills that you are teaching your students, it should be actualized by them. All right. So it is a total learning experiences of the individual. It is not stated there that these are the experiences learned in the school or outside the school. But it is stated here that it is the total learning experiences of the individual. So all experiences children have under the guidance of teachers, according to Caswell and Campbell, that I have explained to you a while ago, and sequence of potential experiences set up in the schools for the purpose of disciplining children and youth in group ways of thinking and acting. That is again according to Caswell and Campbell. And experiences in the school, in the classroom, which are planned and enacted by the teacher and also learned by the students. So experiences in the classroom, these are planned by the teachers and are learned by the students. So there is an emphasis there that if there is a plan, there's an implementation, it should be learned by the teacher, by the students. All right. So we are done with the points of view. Now let us look into the model of the curriculum by Tyler. So the model of the curriculum of Tyler includes the following. So first is the purposes of the school. What's the school for? What is the specialization of the school? And educational experiences related to the purposes. What are the educational experiences that will allow your students to attain the purposes of the school? Third, organization of the experiences. Which of these experiences should come first? Which should come second? Which of these experiences should go last? So that is how you organize, no? Organization of the experiences. And then evaluation of the experiences. You have to evaluate the experiences, whether it is a successful experience or not, whether you have attained the school purposes or not. And there are four fundamental questions or principles in examining the curriculum, according to Tyler. First, what educational purposes should the school seek to attain? So let's say you have this school, what is its educational purpose? First, this purpose is reflected in their vision and mission. This can also be reflected in the syllabi or in the syllabus. And what educational experiences can be provided that are likely to attain these purposes? So meaning to say, na the educational experiences that we give to our students should be aligned to the school purposes. So, meaning to say that if there's no school purposes, it will be difficult for us to create educational experiences since we are not guided with the school purposes. And how can these educational experiences be effectively organized? And how can we determine whether these purposes are being attained or not? Meanwhile, this is the curriculum model of TABA. First is diagnosis of learners' needs and expectations of the larger society. First, it should be diagnosed, no? What are the needs of the students? What are the expectations of the society? One thing that we can have a very good example is that the offering of the senior high school in the Philippines. So why do you think that senior high school must be offered? No, since 2016, we have this senior high school in the Philippines, and if you are going to look back before its implementation, so there are a lot of arguments, there are a lot of those who are against with its implementation. However, according to the study conducted by them, it is already needed by the learners. And it is even needed by the society. Just imagine we are only three countries that are not offering senior high school way back before 2016. Now, since we offered it, there are only two countries around the world that do not offer a senior high school. Now, another one is that there should be formulation of learning objectives. If you'll notice a while ago, in Tyler, it is school purposes. But in Taba's model, it is about learning objectives. So it is more specific. And then selection of learning content. So what should be the content based on the learning objectives? And then organization of learning content. So how are you going to organize it? Which one will come first? Selection of learning experiences and organization of learning experiences. So after organizing the learning content, you have to select the learning experiences. So these are the different activities in order for you to attain the objectives. And then you have to organize the learning activities. If you'll notice, way back in your high school, no? So there are different activities given by the teachers. It will always start with the easiest one, going to a bit difficult, and then to difficult ones. And that is part of organization of learning of activities. You cannot start with the most difficult one and then going to the easiest one. And you cannot also start with those content that are not known to the students. So you have to start first with those contents that are known to them. So it is from known, those things that they know, and then going to the unknown, the new topic that you're going to introduce to them. And then determination of what to evaluate and the means of doing it. Of course, just like in Tyler, no, TAPA's curriculum model include evaluation of the learning. However, it is also being given emphasis here, the means of doing it. How are we going to evaluate the learning objectives? How are we going to evaluate the entire curriculum? The learning objectives, the learning content, the learning experiences, the different activities, is it successful or not? So are you going to give quiz? Are you going to give what kind of quiz are you going to give? What type of test? Is it a multiple choice test? Is it an essay? Is it a portfolio assessment? Skills based assessment? Product based assessment? And so on and so forth. On the other hand, these are the types of curriculum. So we have first recommended curriculum, written curriculum, taught curriculum, supported curriculum, assessed curriculum, learned curriculum, and hidden curriculum. So these are all types of curriculum. Let us look into this. First one is a recommended curriculum. These are curriculum recommended by leading agencies such as DepEd, CHED, and TESDA in case of the Philippines. Now, why is it called as recommended curriculum? Simply because these are the curriculum done by the experts. No, as I've said a while ago, um, in DepEd, there is already curriculum guide. So that is our guide. In order for us to create our own lesson plan, you have to look into the curriculum guide. And here in the pandemic, no, there's way back 2020, it was revised. No, we have this MELC, or known as most essential learning competencies, which are given again by DepEd. And these are selected competencies based on the original learning competencies. And these experts, no, were able to filter all these competencies that are needed by the learners during the time of pandemic. Now, we also have CHED when it comes with the tertiary education, no? So that is Commission on Higher Education. So they also give different memos, no, memoranda consisting of, let's say, the pattern in creating syllabi, or what are the subjects that should be included in a certain program. Let's say, for example, BS Psychology, or BS Physics, or BS Mathematics, and so on and so forth. And we also have TESDA. So TESDA is for vocational, for TechVoc, no? So these are the governing agencies, the different government agencies that can recommend curriculum, no, for basic ed, DepEd, for higher education, CHED, for TechVoc, we have TESDA. And of course, there are also other agencies like that can recommend. However, they must coordinate with DepEd. Like, for example, DepEd will consult a certain agency in order to help them craft syllabi, or certain curriculum, or books, or whatsoever. No, as long as at the end of the day, DepEd, CHED, and TESDA will be the leading agencies that can recommend the curriculum. Another is written curriculum. So documents based on the recommended curriculum. Now you have the recommended curriculum. What then will be done by the teachers? Okay, so of course they have to make the syllabi, they have to make the modules, they have to write books if possible, and then they have to make lesson plan. So these are all known as written curriculum, because this is based on the goals and objectives, based on the topics, based on the content found in the recommended curriculum. Another is taught curriculum. After the plan, no, after the recommended curriculum, you have there the written curriculum, you have there the plan. Then, of course, you have to implement the plan. And how are they going to do that? So that is the taught curriculum. So you have to use your teaching style to match the learning style of the students. You have to use methods, strategies, approaches of teaching. So that's why, in short, this is the implementation of the plan. This is the actual teaching and learning processes. You can see the teachers discussing in front. You can see the teacher facilitating the learning of the students, giving up activities, critiquing papers, checking of papers. As the students learn, it is done, and it is being facilitated by the teacher. Another is supported curriculum. And of course, during the implementation, the teachers and the learners need materials. No, it could be printed like books, modules, graphs, maps, no, or non-printed materials. Like, for example, you have there the LCD, the laptop, no, and aside from that, the facilities of the school, you have the computer laboratory, the science laboratories, PLE laboratory, gymnasium, and of course equipment, like microscope, oven for cooking, and so on and so forth. So as long as These are the materials that are needed in order to make learning and teaching meaningful. Okay, so this is known as supported curriculum. Another, assessed curriculum. So this is the evaluation of the curriculum. Of course, you have to plan, you have to implement, you have to evaluate. Did your students learn at the end of the lesson? Did they gain the three objectives that you have stated at the beginning of the lesson? You have the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Okay? So determine the learning of the students and the attainment of the learning objectives. So that is the target of an assessed curriculum. And of course, you have to look into whether how are you going to assess them. Like, is it a written test? Is it a performance-based test? Or any form of assessment? Another is learned curriculum. Of course, you have assessed a while ago. And then what now is the outcome? Is there any change in behavior of the learners? Did they show any knowledge gain? No. So it must be reflected in their higher order thinking skills, in their critical thinking skills, and lifelong skills. So learn curriculum can be seen in the learners. No. Let's say, for example, your one of the values included in your topic is honesty. Are they honest? No. Did they return anything that they found in the room that are not theirs? Okay. Are they honest in answering papers, in checking papers? Or if your topic is about verb, can they identify verb as they speak? If your topic is about speeches, are they good in making speech? Are they good um, in talking with other people, and so on and so forth? So that is the outcome of the curriculum. So just like here in this particular subject, if you're going to look into the objectives at the end of the day, at the end of the discussion, at the end of your learning, there should be an outcome that can be found in you. Now, we also have hidden curriculum. What is this hidden curriculum? So this is not deliberately planned. That is actually not part of the plan. You did not write anything about hidden curriculum in the lesson plan. It is not even stated in the syllabi. However, hidden curriculum has a great impact in the teaching and learning process. For example, peer influence. So it could be a positive impact, it could be a negative impact. The pressure of parents, the school environment. Let's say, for example, is it hot? No? Is the classroom properly ventilated? It is difficult to study if it is hot. Or is there a comfort room nearby? Like another is media and a lot more. So it is anything that can have an impact in the teaching and learning process, but not part of the plan. Even meetings of teachers. Let's say, for example, there's an urgent meeting, and then the learners, the teacher is currently teaching, and then all of a sudden, someone, a co-teacher perhaps, will go to the room and then tell you, Mom, we have a meeting. Sir, we have a meeting, and then you have to stop teaching, and you have to leave activities. So that is unexpected. That is not part of the plan, but it may happen. Or while you are teaching in the ground, all of a sudden it rains. So you did not plan for it, but it has a great impact in the teaching and learning processes. So let us now talk about the teacher as curricularist. So we are done defining the curriculum. We are done with the types of the curriculum, even the points of view, the different points of view of the curriculum. Now let us look into the teacher as a curricularist. And who are they? So a professional who is a curriculum specialist. So when we say curricularist, curriculum specialist, and if you are watching this, then therefore you are planning to become a curricularist because you're planning to become a teacher. The first one, no, the first role of a teacher as a curricularist is that they know the curriculum, or known as knower. Learning begins with knowing. The teacher as a learner starts with knowing about the curriculum, the subject matter, or the content. It is the mastery of the subject matter. So that's why it is knower. One of the challenges in teaching is mastery of the subject matter, especially if your field of specialization is quite, you know, it is quite vague. It is complex. It has a lot of definition, lots of processes. The first thing that you have to master is the subject matter. Make sure that when you teach, you are giving um, facts. Meaning to say, you are not just basing it, no, without any references. Make sure that what you are following is scientific. What you are doing is the real content. And of course, for you to become a master in your subject matter, this is your role. Knows the curriculum. So you have to learn. Learning begins with knowing. No, so you have to study. So you have to know more about your specialization, especially if you are in a unit in class, wherein your specialization may be far from the specialization that you will be taking when you take the exam or the licensure examination for teachers. So it is, again, as I've said a while ago, it is a challenge. And of course, there are a lot of activities or modality wherein you can become an expert or a master in the subject matter. You can take master, no, MA classes, focusing on your field of specialization. If you will be taking social science in your licensure exam, you have to take MA in social science. If you will be taking science, let's say biological science, then you take MAED, biological science, and so on and so forth. You can likewise attend seminars. Now, however, it is more into the if you'll be attending seminars, it is more into the strategies, approaches of teaching. But there are only few seminars that are more into the mastery of the subject matter. Another is ranks the curriculum. So this is teachers as a writer. So a classroom teacher takes record of knowledge, concepts, subject matter, or content. The teacher writes books, modules, laboratory manuals, instructional guides, and reference materials. So writer. So we write, no, we write manuals, we write books, we write modules, guides, reference materials. So we are a writer. And of course, we cannot write anything if we are not expert. So that's why the first one is knowing, no, as a knower, so that we can be able to write all these things. Another is plans the curriculum. So we plan the curriculum. So if you're the one who will be planning the curriculum, you'll be the one also to implement the curriculum. So a good curriculum has to be planned. You cannot just go inside the room without any plan. You cannot just say, okay, class, our topic for today is photosynthesis. Okay, anyone who would like to say something about photosynthesis? Hey, how about you? You cannot just do that. You cannot just go inside the room with nothing, no? But you're, of course, from time to time you can do that. But if you are a beginner teacher, you cannot just go inside the room without anything. You cannot just tell about your life. Okay? So the teacher should consider factors such as learner. No, when you plan, you have to consider the learners. What are their abilities? Are they fast learners? Are they slow learners? And of course, the support material. What kind of materials do you have? How are they going to how are they going to present the lesson? Are you going Manila paper? Are you going to use LCD, laptop, no? Television, and you have to consider also the time. Remember, most of the classes in the basic end, no, whether it is in elementary or high school, it is one meeting is equivalent to 1 hour. So make sure that the plan that you will be making for implementation is good for 1 hour. Subject matter content, you have to consider that also. In the desired outcomes, the context of the learners among others. So this is teacher as a planner. Another initiates the curriculum. So this is known as initiator. Implementation of new curriculum requires open-mindedness of the teacher and the full belief that the curriculum enhance learning. So there will be many constraints and difficulties in doing things first or leading. However, a transformative teacher will never hesitate to try doing something novel and relevant. So this is initiator. Teachers as initiator. For example, during the first implementation of the senior high school curriculum, so the teachers are the ones who implement it. So of course, it takes two to tango, meaning to say that there are people in DepEd who assist teachers in the implementation of the new curriculum. However, that's why the term is initiator, because we are the ones, no, who implemented it first. And of course, if we are not open-minded, we may say, "No, I don't like that. I don't like changes." However, since we are initiator, we can accept that and we lead, no, in the implementation of such a new curriculum. Another is innovates the curriculum. A curriculum is always dynamic, hence it keeps changing. It requires teachers' creativity and innovation that makes them excellent. So this innovator. So one thing that we should possess, no, is being an innovator. So we innovate things, we create things. Let's say, for example, you have your plan. You have in your plan you need to use LCD projector. However, during before your class, 5 minutes before your class, there is a power interruption. So you cannot use the LCD projector. You cannot even use your laptop. So what then should you do? So that is the skill that you will use is you being an innovator. So how now are you going to teach them without your first plan, which is the use of the LCD projector? Or for example, you want to teach your students how you are teaching your students about plants. So being an innovator, perhaps you can bring them in the garden. No, perhaps you can bring them in a place where there are lots of plants. You cannot just stay in the room. No, so you have to innovate. You have to become creative. Another is implements the curriculum. It is here where all the elements of the curriculum will come into play. The success of the recommended, well-written, and planned curriculum depends on the implementation. So it depends on us, the implementer. So this is the actual teaching and learning processes. So after the plan, after knowing, you have your plan, and then you have the implementation of the plan. So this is the actual teaching. This is the actual learning done by the students. And then of course the seventh one is evaluates the curriculum. So the teacher asks and answer questions pertaining to the implementation and effects of the curriculum. So that is evaluator. So when we evaluate a lot. No, we evaluate not only the learning of the students but also other things. We evaluate the objectives, whether um, it is a good objective, whether it is an attainable objective. We evaluate the alignment of the objectives with activities. We evaluate activities, know whether these are easy or difficult activities, whether this can be done in 1 hour period of the class. We likewise evaluate ourselves. Did we implement Did we use a good approach of teaching? Did we use a good methodology, strategy of teaching? So when we evaluate, when we become evaluator, we do not just evaluate the learners. There are a lot of things that we evaluate. And of course, that's the last part of our discussion. So I hope that you have learned something. So for reference, we have this one. So thank you so much for watching. See you again next time. Goodbye.